Something did happen and it was postponed. We're not sure if it's cancelled, but my inclination is postpone until further notice. Now, we're here to talk with.
Not dictate to you, not order you, but we want to talk to you about something. We have a problem. We think you can help us solve that problem, and we'd like to work together. And even though we fight about other issues, we're professionals just like the administration are. And we can separate individual issues and try to deal with individual issues.
But this is creating also a problem to the city of Yonkers, to the residents. When I look at Yonkers, and I look at City Hall, and I look at the first responders, I look at them as a team. I look at them as a group that something happens, they are the ones that's going to come and help. I look at the fire department, I look at the police department, I look at the EMS, and I look at the presence of the City Hall. Something happens in Gary Square, there is a fire, there is a chaotic situation. You're all there. And I know that at that moment no one is fighting anything, the common goal is to resolve the problem. But on the people's mind, things that you don't control, you might control the fire, you might control the situation, but you don't control what people think, okay? And on people's mind is, are they really work with each other, or are this a time that they're gonna try to play that they cannot work with each other? So the vote of confidence, of easy, that I feel confident that my fire department, my police department, my EMS department, they are all there as a one. Does it exist? To you probably does, but the perception to the public, do we feel like it does exist? I think one of the obligations from the mayor or whoever in charge is to make the people of Yonkers, the people who voted for him, people who gave him the position of the CEO of this great city, that he should have the people or the organizations that our city depend on a pedestal. Because if those things break down, the consequences might be tremendous, not for him, but for the people.
I can just tell you that our police department is one of the finest police departments in the country.
I agree.
And the same thing with our fire department. And we're all professionals. And we're not going to allow politics or politicians interfere with that. Unfortunately, there are times where the police are ordered to do something that they may not agree with, but they're going to do their job as professionally as they can. And the same thing with the fire department. When we work together on the scene with somebody, and the thing that we can be proudest most in the city of Yonkers, because we're such a diverse city, I can tell you firsthand that our fire department and police respond just as quickly to the poorest neighborhoods in Yonkers as they do it to the richest neighborhoods in Yonkers. And we have the dichotomy in Yonkers is the extreme poverty and the extreme wealth. Our police department and our fire departments don't look at the color of someone's skin, the amount of money they have, or the house they live in when they're providing services. And it's always trying to do the best they can to help the citizens of Yonkers. So low morale can affect the ability to carry out your function, just like anybody in the military would tell you. You know, you want the troops on the ground to have the highest morale. You don't want them to be miserable or disgruntled, because you're asking them to put their lives in jeopardy for everybody else. And our firefighters and our fire officers are the same way. So we think that it's not these political squabbles, it's not the office space, it's the morale.
It's the morale.
And everything seems to affect morale. So this would be the second office. So it's basically two very open floors, open rooms. We wouldn't have an ability to have a secure storage area for our medical records. We wouldn't have a confidential conference room. The square footage is probably a little bit smaller than what we have, but similar to what we've had, so we can work with that. But the problem is it would have to be configured into some individual rooms because these vast open spaces aren't conducive for union business. That would take time. So whenever you want to put walls up here, we're restricted by the columns as well as the windows of where you can actually put a wall. And then we also have heating and ventilation systems which have to be taken into consideration, and lighting, which sometimes, and then electrical work has to be done. So these are the kind of things that actually, that's why you would need several weeks to get this built out appropriately so that it'd be suitable, so when you did make a move, there could be a smooth transition. Basically what the city wanted to do today is to just come, move us in here, drop us off, and just walk away. They had promised that they would get the computer systems and phone systems up working, but as their technician said this morning, we're dependent upon Cablevision, or I should say Optimum, to get a technician here to run the cable in here, because our phone systems and our computer systems are done through the cable. And then the wiring has to be done, because this wiring that's here, although it might have been the appropriate wiring when they did the rebuild the first time in this building, when we moved into our offices downstairs, we had our computer tech had to rewire the entire office, because the computer wiring they have is antiquated here.
And you were saying that you haven't been told that this is your permanent spot. You
Right.
loved it.
Actually, they've gone to great lengths to point out this will be temporary.
Barry, thank you for taking us upstairs. We were able to see the new offices where they want you guys to move. I guess the city feels that there is a space to move you. But we noticed that no heat, doors with no locks, no place to secure documents. And I understand that you guys have a lot of confidential material. Confidential material that needs to be secure, cannot be just in the open. How you feel about that?
Well, it's truly unfortunate, because had the city contacted us and tried to work this out, we'd be more than willing to move to another location. And even the alternative space that they did indicate upstairs could be utilized with a little bit of work. However, like you said, certain things have to be done in advance. We can't move documents and equipment and continue to operate as a union representing our members by just them showing up at 7:30 this morning and saying they're going to move us. Before any organization moves, you have to ensure that your telecommunication equipment is up and running in your new location, that your computer systems can be functioning before you shut down where you're currently operating it. And the way the city wanted to do this, there's just no way we could comply with their request to move out this morning. In a couple of weeks, they could probably get the place up to speed, to get the equipment operational prior to the move, to actually ensure that there was some security. It's a barren, empty void of office space all by itself in this tremendous sized building. It would be unsafe for our employee to be there alone at times under the circumstances today. We also need a separate, our own separate space. We can't be contained within a suite of offices where there's access from other people, because as you said, we have very confidential information. The union provides benefits to our members as basically as an agent of the city. We provide vision, dental benefits, and other benefits to our members. So we have a lot of HIPAA-protected documents in our offices. We also have financial records of our members, including their Social Security information and their birth dates. All this is very private information, which is we're required under law to secure. And with the space that was provided to us, there's really no way to do that effectively. So what we'd like to do is to be able to sit down with the city and see if we can work together for a solution. One shouldn't be imposed upon the union. We're not a department of the city under the control of the city. We're a separate corporation. We're a union. We represent our members. And although the city does provide this space to us, we have occupancy of it. We have lawful occupancy of it. And the only way to remove us against our will is through a court order, not to show up and say we're going to move you. Our attorney attempted last week to try to work this out, to say, listen, the space is not suitable. It's not safe. We're not saying we won't move. We'll do what it takes to help the city and to facilitate the city's needs, especially when it comes to economic development. But we have to do it in a way that works for us as well. It can't all be the city's interest with no interest in the firefighters or the firefighters union.